There is an enemy that no one sees, but everyone feels. It doesn't come from outside. It doesn't carry a sword. It lives within you. It whispers when you're tired. It speaks when you doubt yourself. It feeds on your hesitation, your fear, your comfort. This is the inner enemy, and Miyamoto Musashi knew it better than anyone. He fought hundreds of duels, and yet he said his greatest battle was always against himself. Because the truth is, the world can never defeat you until you have already surrendered to the enemy within. Musashi's strategy to defeat this inner enemy was simple, but not easy. He called it the way, a path of total self-mastery, where victory was not measured by how many opponents you cut down, but how completely you controlled your own mind. He understood that fear, anger, and doubt are illusions that grow stronger when ignored. The only way to overcome them is to face them directly, again and again, until they lose their power. That is the strategy, to turn your weakness into your weapon. The inner enemy lives in comfort. It loves distraction. It thrives when you seek pleasure instead of progress. When you avoid challenge, it grows stronger. When you complain, it becomes louder. Musashi believed that a man must train his mind as hard as his sword. Every day, he stripped away weakness, sleeping little, owning almost nothing, training endlessly. Not because he loved hardship, but because he knew that comfort kills awareness. When life becomes too easy, the inner enemy takes over. It makes you soft. It makes you forget who you are. To defeat the inner enemy, Musashi trained himself to see clearly. Perceive what cannot be seen with the eye, he said. He was not speaking of mystical visions. He meant understanding yourself so deeply that you recognize the tricks of the mind before they deceive you. When fear rises, you see it, but you do not obey it. When anger burns, you feel it, but you do not act from it. When pride whispers that you've done enough, you ignore it and keep moving. This is inner mastery, the art of seeing without reacting. Most people lose the inner war because they do not even know it exists. They believe every emotion, every thought, every doubt that appears in their mind. They think, therefore they obey. But Musashi's method was different. He learned to separate thought from truth. When a thought said, "You can't do this," he observed it, then acted anyway. He understood that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move despite it. And the more he acted in the presence of fear, the weaker that inner enemy became. Musashi's first principle is awareness. You cannot fight what you do not see. Pay attention to how your mind works. Notice when it resists discipline, when it looks for escape, when it craves comfort. Each of these moments is a battlefield. When you stay aware, you gain the upper hand. The inner enemy hates awareness because it lives in unconsciousness. It feeds on the shadows of your mind. Bring light to it, and it begins to die. The second principle is detachment. Musashi warned that attachment is the root of defeat. When you cling to opinions, possessions, emotions, or outcomes, you become controlled by them. The inner enemy uses these attachments to manipulate you. It tells you that you need approval, comfort, success. But these are illusions. True strength comes when you can walk away from anything and remain calm. When nothing owns you, the enemy cannot find you. The third principle is discipline. Musashi lived with relentless discipline because he knew the enemy inside never sleeps. The mind always looks for weakness. It tempts you to take one day off, one easy option, one moment of indulgence. And once you give in, it grows stronger. Discipline is the blade that cuts through that temptation. It is not punishment, it is purification. Every act of discipline, is a strike against the enemy within. Musashi's life was proof of his philosophy. He fought more than 60 duels, often against multiple opponents, and never lost. But those victories were only symbols of a deeper mastery, the mastery of self. He said, "If you know the way broadly, you will see it in all things." The way he spoke of was not just the way of the sword, but the way of the mind. He learned that every external opponent was merely a mirror, reflecting his own fears back at him. Once he conquered himself, no man could touch him. To practice Musashi's strategy, you must learn to turn inward. Sit in silence every day. Watch your thoughts without judgment. Observe how your mind tries to control you. See how it runs from stillness, how it craves stimulation, how it reacts to pain. Then, do nothing. Let it burn. This is how the inner enemy reveals itself. It wants reaction, but you give it patience. It wants comfort, but you give it silence. Slowly it weakens. Slowly you become free. Musashi's secret was not aggression. It was awareness. He said, "Fix your mind on the way and do not let it waver." This means choosing the path of mastery again and again, even when no one is watching, even when progress is invisible. The inner enemy wants you to quit when the reward is not immediate. It wants you to doubt when the results are slow. But if you can hold your ground in that moment, when everything in you screams to stop, you win. That is the invisible victory, the one no one sees, but you feel deep in your spirit. The modern world rewards the inner enemy. It praises ease. It glorifies distraction. It tells you that self-control is outdated. But the truth has not changed. Power still belongs to the man who can control his own mind. Musashi would look at the world today and see millions of warriors defeated not by swords, but by screens. He would tell you that your phone, your habits, your distractions, they are your duels now, and your weapon is awareness. Defeating the inner enemy doesn't mean silencing it forever. It means understanding it so well that it can no longer trick you. You will still feel fear. You will still hear the whispers of doubt, but you will recognize them as echoes, not commands. You will see them rise, and you will let them fall, untouched. That is freedom. That is mastery. That is what Musashi meant by knowing the way. When you live this way, every challenge becomes training. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every discomfort becomes an opportunity to strengthen your mind. The enemy within transforms into your greatest teacher. It shows you where you are still weak, where you still run, where you still cling. It exposes your truth. And once you face that truth, you can no longer be defeated. Not by men, not by fate, not by life itself. Musashi's strategy is not ancient wisdom to be admired. It is a living discipline to be practiced. When you rise in the morning, train your mind before you train your body. When fear appears, face it before you act. When doubt whispers, breathe and return to the present. The more you do this, the quieter the inner enemy becomes. The quieter it becomes, the more clearly you can see. In the end, the greatest battle is not against others. It's against the parts of yourself that keep you from becoming who you are meant to be. Musashi understood this truth. He lived it. He conquered it. And now, it's your turn. The strategy is simple: awareness, detachment, discipline. Face your fear, watch your thoughts, master your mind. And when you finally meet the inner enemy, do not fight it with hatred. Simply see it, understand it, and rise above it. Because once you master the inner war, the outer world cannot touch you.